In 1994, and 2 years before, a lot of the guys that had left the cab marching wanted to start a alumni corps because alumni drum corps were coming into being. Alum to play some of the old music and bring stuff back from the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Jimmy Costello caught wind that we were thinking about and entertaining the thought of starting an alumni corps. And he was adamantly, and I stress that word, against an alumni corps.
But Jim Costello was adamant against it. He didn't want it. He said no, that it would take away from the guys that wanted to march in the corps, and they wanted to leave the Caballero competing corps coming to the alumni.
And his biggest worries were, which he came right out and said, he didn't want us to divert any monies that were going to the Caballeros in support of the Caballeros for equipment and everything else, all these funds, tag days, what have you. He didn't want that to be disturbed.
The competing corps would lose members to the alumni corps.
We still wanted to play, and we were quite persistent about it.
But we've got a group of guys that Jim Costello admired, and he knew who they were.
There's a lot of respected members of the Corps of the past convinced him that our goal was to help the competing corps whatever way we could, and we would not steal members or make any effort to do that.
Told them no, we would never interfere with the Caballero competing corps, and we would make a rule that if they wanted to come in the competing corps, they would stay there, and they can't join the alumni corps till after 3 years.
And Bobby Peterson, Joe Campus, Danny Raymond, and Frank Basillo went to speak to Jim an hour and a half later, and he said, Jimmy says it's okay. At the 1995 Grand Prix, our first field performance, we did a little modified drill, but it was special because on that starting line we heard the crowd yelling, and that is what we wanted to feel, that feeling all over again. That's what we missed. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it right now.
I mean, again, I had butterflies, but I felt tremendous. It was just after so many years of not marching, you know, to be out there again, to be performing, to entertaining the crowd, which it's all about, to be a Caballero again on the field was, it was almost indescribable. It was a really great feeling.
The uniform of the day at the time was baseball caps with an insignia, polo shirts with an insignia, and everybody wore black pants.
We told Costello that's what we would have. So for the first year, we went out with that. But then we started thinking, Jesus, why can't we have a little bit to look like the Caballeros and who we were? And Pete Bishop was very instrumental in coming up with concepts of what we could wear. Costello did not want us to have anything that remotely looked like the Community Corps. So we got a hat, sombrero with a cummerbund, but it was still like kind of a white shirt and black chinos. And then
we were told if we got bell bottoms, they could not have the red pleat like the caps have. So we actually ordered all the pants with black pleats. Then we found out that was miscommunication somehow down the line, and what we did was we sent all the pants out and had them all refitted with red pleats. And then from that point on, we've been wearing, that's been our uniform, and we will never change, because that's the era we're trying to represent, 50s, 60s, 70s, and this is what we wore then, and that's what we're wearing now. It'll stay that way.
And if you look at the alumni, they come from all over the United States and Canada. It's amazing how people travel those long distances just to be with the Cab, just to play with the, say, I play with the Caballero Alumni Drum Corps. What I myself consider is probably one of the best in the country, probably. I'm not going to blow my horn, but that's my opinion. That's how we started.